Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have something very bright green, and it's not our F80 M3. It is in fact a Huracan in the same color, Verde Mantis. Now this car has been bought as an Eventuri project car because we did design an intake for this car probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and we discovered that it tripped the check engine light on the right hand bank, and we were never able to fix it because the cars we were developing on were never able to leave the car with us for any extended period of time. So we thought it'd be a shame to leave all that development on the table because it made a lot of power, it sounded great. So we've literally bought this car to finish off the development on the intake, get it working properly, and also extend the intake a little bit. There's 2 corrugated bits that come after the intake, so Bilal wants to complete those as well to make the intake fully functional on this car. So I'm going to jump in the car, drive it back to the workshop, we'll put the intake on the car, and then we'll basically drive it around and figure out what that check engine light is and fix it. I've safely navigated my way home, 150 miles, the car is safely back. It was a little bit sketchy on the Pirelli tyres, it was -1. They had hardly any grip, so I took it a little bit easy and got used to the car. I will do a proper driving review once the weather gets a little bit better. But for now, let's get this in the Eventuri development bay, and I'll hand you over to Bilal and he'll explain what we're going to do with the intake on this car.
So we've got our own Huracan now in our development area. As Imran briefly explained, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I developed the intake for this in Germany, but there just wasn't enough data to finish the intake. The people who typically own these cars don't really use them that often, so there wasn't enough mileage being clocked up on the intake to give us enough data to finish the system. So the plan now is to rescan the engine bay, redevelop the intake, get as much data as possible, finish it, make sure it's perfect, no issues with it at all, make sure it makes power, of course, and then finally release it into the market. We've got the covers off. You can see the stock airboxes. Typical airbox design, both square airboxes. Internally though, they've both got cylindrical filters, so not paddle filters as such. The airboxes feed from the vents, which are from the side of the car, behind the rear mirrors. There's a duct which comes in, you probably can't see. There's a duct, plastic duct, which comes down all the way down through here, and then there's a connection between the airbox and that duct from the sides. So the airflow is pushed in, goes into the airbox, and then the cylindrical filter inside the airbox feeds into the engine this way. One thing which has always bugged me about this design is the alignment between both of the airbox outputs, the outlets, the tubes where the MAFs are, and the throttle bodies. So I'm not sure how well you can see this on the video, but they're not aligned. So the flexible rubber hose, which has lots of corrugations in it, is actually taking into account that mismatch of alignment. So that's not great for airflow because you've got air essentially bouncing off those internal ridges before it gets to the throttle body because they're just not aligned. Not sure why that's the case, but unfortunately that's the way it is. And I'm sure that's not very good for efficiency in terms of airflow. But anyway, We're going to remove all that, scan everything, and then start our process from there. Then I'll scan. I did scan this when I originally designed the intake, but just to make sure I've got all the data I need, I've scanned it again. This is the original intake I designed in the first instance. We're going to refit this intake just to recreate the error code which you had. I believe it was a math code. Again, because we didn't have enough data, we didn't know exactly what the problem was. So I'm going to go back in, I'm going to drive the car, put some miles on it, see what the code is, and then go back to the drawing board and redesign it.
So Bilal has fitted the original design Eventuri intake in the Huracan, and I've been given the arduous task of driving the car around and seeing if I can get it to trip the check engine light that we saw a couple of years ago. Once we know what that is, then we can try and rectify it. So I'm going to take the car now, drive it for about 50 to 100 miles and see what happens. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you'd like to watch what YouTube suggests you might like from our other videos, you can watch that over here. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them for you.